Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy CowboyJobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, we know this literally doesn't work. Guys, you see the smile, don't you? We're talking about football, man. We have football going on. The offseason has been gone. And we're just 31 days away from the kickoff against the Carolina Panthers. Now listen, I try and find the positive side of things because I believe you put out to the universe what you want to happen. If you put out negativity, if you don't believe in something, then certainly it can't happen. I believe in my quarterback, okay? But here's the thing. Much in the way that whether you believe in Jason Garrett or not, believe that he's the right guy, you have to put your faith in him. Because we as Cowboy fans, it's about the star. It's about the star succeeding, our team, bragging rights. You got to want Dak Prescott to succeed. You got to want Jason Garrett to succeed, because if they don't, then the Cowboys don't succeed. And if you're really a Cowboy fan, then you have to believe that. So the time now is the time to come together. If the season doesn't work out right, then we deal with it then. No point in going overboard right now. Now, I know I'm just Joe the fan out here. I didn't go to ESPN School of Broadcasting, to become an expert talking head. I didn't play professional football. I didn't coach. I'm just a fan. I believe in him, but that doesn't mean anything. But let's listen to what a Hall of Famer has to say about Dak Prescott.
Kurt, you got a chance to spend some time with Dak. What are your thoughts about him as he gets ready to enter this third year?
I tell you, I've been impressed from day one. Just his demeanor, the way he handles himself. You always hear everybody here talk about leadership, and you can feel that when you're around him. That he's just a guy that takes control, and nothing's too big for him. And I think we saw that early on. And so I've been very, very impressed. I think always the negative with a guy that comes in, and you're hard to say it's a negative when a guy comes in and tears it up his first year, but we start to forget that he's just going into his third season, and had some went through some growing pains last year as they asked him to do more, and and everybody, what's wrong with settle in and allow him to grow into who he's going to be. I played against Tom Brady his first year playing, and yeah, he won a Super Bowl, but he was not Tom Brady. And it took him time to become that guy. And that's the thing I think with Dak is we've seen the upside, we've seen some struggles, and now it's about settling in and figuring out who he's going to be throughout his career. But I'm not worried about him from a leadership standpoint. He is going to be the backbone of this organization, I believe, for a long time. Now the big question always with Dallas is, what does that look like and what does that mean? Can it be good enough to win championships or not? And that's really going to be the defining factor for him. But I'm not worried about Dak at all. I think he's going to be a main cog in the league for a long time.
You've done it, so I'm curious. What do you think are some of those keys for him trying to maximize who he can be?
Well, I think a big thing is always trying to fine-tune your offense to the strengths of your team, and specifically to the strengths of your quarterback. And, and it's hard for me to definitively say what those things are for Dak right now. He could probably tell you more, but I believe that's always the key, is they've got to find, concepts, they've got to find routes that he just can throw like the back of his hand, and we have to build around that stuff. And sometimes that's hard when you've got a guy that you don't expect to be the guy, and then all of a sudden he gets thrust into that position, and you've got an offense that was catered around another really good quarterback, and now you're trying to figure that out as you mix and match pieces, and you get this young quarterback. And so I think that's really going to be the telltale sign, is what does he build his career around? What are those plays? Where are his strengths? And can they develop the offense? Can they get the pieces around him to allow him to play at his highest level? And that to me, I think, is the big question with them this year. We know they're going to have the run game and the offensive line, but the pieces on the outside, do they mesh with who Dak is, and can he get back to being what he was as a rookie, as opposed to it seemed almost like he was sledding uphill last year, never really feeling comfortable with what they were doing.
How long does it take for a quarterback to measure? You deal?
Okay, okay, sounds good.
How long does it take for a quarterback to mesh with a new set of receivers?
I always say it really depends on the receivers that are coming in and how you played the game before. And so if you have similar receivers, meaning maybe a bigger, stronger guy that has great catch radius, or maybe it's a quick guy that creates great separation. If you've been around guys like that in the past, it's much easier to get acclimated with that guy if he's similar, even though he's a different player. If they're different kinds of guys and you have to kind of change your mindset to, okay, I'm not going to throw it, oh, he's covered. And then you start to realize, oh, wait, maybe that's not covered for him, and your mindset has to change a little bit. So that to me is going to be, the real defining piece to this is who ends up playing with him and how do they play this game, and does it mesh with what he's done in the past or how he sees the game, or is it completely different? And if it's completely different, that's what really takes time as you're developing within a system and with new guys.
How much will he miss Witten?
I mean, anytime you got a guy that at the end of the day, you're not sure what to call, you can call one play, and that guy's going to win and give you a chance every time. You always miss those guys. Doesn't matter where they play, what position. So for a young quarterback to lose somebody like Jason Witten that is as good as anybody at what he did, I think they're going to miss him a lot.
Okay, so interesting. Now, this is a guy who people didn't think much of because he was bagging groceries. He was third on the depth chart with the Rams and ended up winning him a Super Bowl. So he understands where Dak's come from and what Dax is going through. But he also alludes to that you are the Dallas Cowboys, so the spotlight is on him. But he did remind us that this is only Dak Prescott's third season. Third season. With 22 wins. The key thing, two things that I'll take away from this interview is one, missing Jason Witten. And I think he will miss Jason Witten because Jason Witten, although he wasn't a game breaker, was always there when you needed him. But the second thing, and you can see in the past history of the Dallas Cowboys, is catering to one's strengths, which is something they have not done much of. I said before, in 2015, when Tony Romo went out and we won one game without our starting quarterback, to me that says a lot about your coaching, that they are not able to adapt. Because, see, every quarterback has some things that they do really well and some things that they don't. Brandon Wheaton, who was in your system for a year and a half, you could not coach him up enough to win one game with a great running attack and a great offensive line. Flat out. One thing that I know about Brandon Wheaton is he sucks throwing to his left. He cannot throw to his left. Yet, how many times did I see the Cowboys having him try and throw to his left and throw interceptions? They were still trying to run the offense like Tony Romo was there. But what Tony Romo did was Tony Romo was able to create a lot of things with buying time with his legs, to improvise, to adapt, to overcome. So in 2015, when Tony Romo went down, you had Brandon Wheaton, who can't throw to his left. You had him trying to throw to his left. And you were still trying to run the offense like Tony Romo was there. Hence why you couldn't win with Brandon Wheaton and Matt Castle. Yet, Brandon Wheaton went to Houston, practiced for a week, and won them 2 games to get into the playoffs. They need to use Dak Prescott's ability. One of the things that Dak does incredibly well is moving out of the pocket and throwing on the run. Naked bootlegs. Run option passes. Because as he's on the move, he's able to pick out that wide receiver that's open, the open man, which is what he did in college. He never had elite wide receivers ever. Take a look at Mississippi State. The year he was drafted, his tight end, I believe, was drafted in the 6th round. That's the only other player on offense in his time that was drafted. So if you're saying I've got a jump ball wide receiver that I'm going to focus on, that was never his game. Move the pocket, run option pass, force the defensive lineman or the cornerback into a no-win situation. Either I'm coming up to get you and I'm going to leave my receiver, boom. Or I'm going to stick with the receiver and I'm going to run. That is adapting to the player that you have, and the Cowboys have to do that in order for Dak Prescott to develop. It's flat out. You look at your team and you look at the personnel that you have, and you may have to change what your philosophy is to fit the personnel that you have. And that, my friends, is what the Dallas Cowboys need to do for this team and for Dak Prescott, for this team to be successful. I'm excited about the season. I'm not worried about Dak Prescott. There's plenty of things to worry about, but Dak will be okay. 24 hours from now, guys, we'll be watching football. I'm Mark Holmes, and I need to get up off of here because Michael's getting ready to do a live stream, right? And I'll see you guys later.